Few batsmen commanded the respect of all like Gregory Stephen Chappell, one of the three famous cricketing brothers. The tall, elegant batsman followed his brother Ian into a distinguished period as Australian captain and finished his career as he began, on a high note.
That's 4 runs from the moment it left the bat. Greg Chappell at his best in this match so far.
I know a bit about Greg's batting because I do feel at least responsible for a little bit of it after all those hours in the backyard in those test matches. In fact, Greg always says that somebody, in the early part of his career, somebody said to him, test cricket must be pretty tough. He said, no, mate. He said, after those games against Ian in the backyard, he said, test cricket was a breeze. They were the tough games. He said, that got me ready for anything I was going to get in test cricket.
He's got that in the middle of the bat. 4 more to Greg Chappell. What a marvellous shot that was.
He's gone through the covers, and this is a slaughter now for Roger Binney. Late value from Greg Chappell.
Pretty intense sort of cricket we played in the backyard. They were always test matches. It was always between Australia and England. The bad news for me was that Ian was Australia and I had to be England, which was a little bit difficult for me because whilst I didn't want to be beaten by my older brother, I didn't really have my heart in winning for England. So it was a bit of a challenge. But it was great. You know, our father had always taught us wherever we played, whenever we played, we had to take it seriously, and those test matches in the backyard were pretty serious. And when I got to play real test cricket, it didn't seem all that difficult at all.
He's nudged that into the gap and he's got it. Well, there they go. Greg Chappell's century. His 18th century in test cricket. And what a marvellous innings it's been. The crowd on their feet, cheering the Australian captain.
I remember one day we were playing and we used to have all these, we had these fruit trees and Dad had put up guards to stop us killing all the fruit, you see. So these wire guards were fieldsmen. So if you hit them on the full, you're out. And we had this lean-to on the garage, you see, and that used to be the wicket-keeper and about 3 slips. I remember this day I'm bowling to Greg and he fends off a short one, which was a very rare short one from me, and he gets an edge and it hits the lean-to. So I said to him, righto, you're out. What you have to do then was go over to the tank stand and you filled in the scorebook. So you'd fill in your score and then you would come out as the next batsman, you see. So I said to him, go and fill the score and you're out. No, I didn't nick it. Rubbish, you nicked it, you're out. Now go and this argument goes on for a while and I'm not getting anywhere. No, he will not admit that he's nicked it, you see. So the next thing we find ourselves, we're under the almond tree and I've got Greg's arm twisted up behind his back saying, admit it, you little so-and-so, you hit it. And he still wouldn't admit it. And in the end I had to stop because I was worried I was going to break his arm. And I think also around about that point, Jean had heard all the screaming and the carry-on, and she came out and we got the usual third umpire's decision. No, he's the youngest, let him continue. So I knew from a very young age how determined this so-and-so was.
Oh, he's put that away beautifully through mid-wicket for 4. He just stood there and was a fraction short and he's pulled it away. 1-5-3 for the Australian captain. A magnificent ovation for a magnificent innings. Yeah.
And there it is. A double century to Greg Chappell. He'll only take the single. And what a great innings it's been.
And Greg Chappell already has a double century against Pakistan to his name in Pakistan. I would say that would be very much in his mind at the moment to make another one.
Sikandar with the new ball. That one swings away and Greg Chappell murders it. It was a short ball wide outside off stump. He murders it and it goes flying away to the boundary. So that's his century and a chanceless century at that.
Greg was very mentally strong about himself and what he could and couldn't do. He'd climb into a cocoon, he'd prepare himself in the way that Greg Chappell did prepare himself, and then he'd go out and do it.
Well played. Beautifully played, and my goodness, that's a pretty ordinary effort there by Zahir.
Greg was very, very good at converting 50s into hundreds and then well on past the 100. once again, you go back to that mental organisation. I don't know how the opposition felt, but we felt pretty comfortable in the dressing room. You know, once Greg got to sort of 50, you were thinking to yourself, 150 minimum here.
And there's the 150. Greg Chappell out of form prior to the start of this test match, but a player very much in form now, bringing up these 150, getting a warm ovation from his home crowd.
Along with Viv Richards, he was the two of them are the best players that I played with and against throughout my time. Greg, a little bit different to Viv in his approach to batting, very technically correct, very elegant. Still hit the ball very firmly and struck the ball hard, but wasn't that sort of bombastic type approach that Viv Richards had to his batting. It was a lot more elegant, and timing played a great role in the way Greg approached his batting.
It's off as to Chappell, and Chappell slashes that wide down towards the point boundary for 4. Chappell nicking that away fine as Wazimbori dives to try and cut it off.
And there it is in front of the home crowd, a magnificent 200. Tremendous ovation for a great player.
Some people have all the luck. I was fortunate enough to be there when Greg Chappell made his debut at the WACA a long time ago, and I saw him make a century on debut. And then I was there at the SCG when he retired and made a century in his farewell match. The majestic innings Greg Chappell played to pass Bradman's Test aggregate record was something for everyone to savour when they were at the ground or watching on television, and he batted then as he did so often for Australia around the world.
Attempted bouncer. Greg Chappell's right on top form today. Got that through. The outfield is quicker over there. It's going downhill. 4 more to Chappell. 150 up for Greg Chappell. What a great finish.
I remember another thing from that test match. I think he was 2 catches short of the record of test match catches. So he started moving from first slip to second and third where the ball tended to be going. And I remember Wayne Phillips just took a screamer diving to his left in front of him. It was like a little clip over the ear, and he sort of threw him the ball and said, "Oh, sorry, Greg, that one was for you." But just instinct took over. And finally, Greg did take a couple of catches.
And that's an edge. And